New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment,
And good morning, dear ones. Reverend Robert with you here. It is a Saturday morning, November 27th, 2021. We've made it through the Thanksgiving holiday here in America. If you're tuning in from somewhere outside of America, thank you for allowing us our holiday weekend and to ignore the world for a few days, or at least our commitments for a few days. But we're back here with you again on Saturday morning. I'm going to give just another moment or two, allow some people to kind of slide into the room. And while we'll do that, we'll give a little bit of an idea. If this is your first time with us, number one, thank you for being here. Number two, no, this is not my normal set. I am still vacationing with family in Moab, Utah. We'll be heading back to Denver later today, actually. And that's why I get to do today's talk and why I wanted to be able to share today's talk with you. As number one, I know that all my colleagues are pretty much celebrating and away with family this weekend as well. And because this month in February, we've been talking a lot about gratitude. And thank you so much to Dr. Tracy Brown for her talk about sharing gratitude last week. This whole month of gratitude has been a great experience because we've really gotten to dive into a broader perspective of not only that word, a practice of gratitude, but really how to bring more gratitude into the world. And we're going to share a bunch of that with you here today. So again, if you're new, if this is your first time, thank you so much for being with us. We do this every Saturday. Now, remember, if you have any comments or questions as we go along, please feel free to drop those in the comment box. And if appropriate, I'll answer those questions following today's talk and what it is I would like to talk about and share about. So please feel free. Drop a comment in the comment box, and we're going to get launching. We're going to get going here. Today's talk is called The Good Old Grateful Dead. The Good Old Grateful Dead. And I chose that for a number of reasons. Now, the true meaning of, we'll get into the true meaning later. How about that? The first thing I'd really like to do is just kind of start with a story for you. And the way this story was translated to me, there was a businessman, a mid-sized businessman. He wasn't very prosperous yet, but he was working his business, and he was. And this happened quite a long time ago in China, is the way the story goes. And he's on a mountain road, and he's pulling a hand cart along a mountain road, and he comes into a little town. And as he does, there's really kind of a big hullabaloo going on in this little town. And he realizes there's an argument going on. And in this argument, one side of the town wants to invest town money to provide a burial and a proper funeral for a beggar, a traveler, someone that came through the town and happened to and died while they were in town. And so half the town wants to spend town resources to give this man a proper burial. The other half of the town doesn't want to give the resources. And our businessman, our traveler, he just happens to end up in town in the middle of this debate, this argument, and people are going, and there's a lot, he can feel the energy, he can feel the tension in the air, he can feel the environment of division and separation. Some of us may have felt that over dinner on Thursday. Hopefully not too many of us. And the businessman says, I would like to solve this. And he pays for the beggar's funeral. And he takes the money from his hand. And the man is given a proper burial and a proper funeral. And the town isn't out. The town hasn't used any of their resources to make that happen. The businessman goes around along on his business, goes about his way. Now, as the story continues, years pass by, and years later, the businessman is met with some really, really great fortune. And in that great fortune, he is introduced to someone who really projects and moves his business in a whole new way, directs his life and his business in a whole new avenue, and he becomes incredibly prosperous. One of the richest men in his town, actually. And he's there one night, and he's contemplating his good luck, and he's contemplating his good fortune. And what happens is the ghost, the spirit, the essence of the beggar whose funeral he paid for many years earlier reveals itself to him and shares with the businessman that he is actually the guy that propelled his business, that helped him find this new avenue and move everything forward. He was so grateful for the kindness the businessman showed him that once he reached the other dimensions of livingness, he returned the favor. He was a grateful dead. Pretty interesting story, huh? Now, that story is repeated in many myths and many legends and many cultures across the planet. Here in America, we always like to do things a little differently. So many of you may realize that in the 1960s, a group of people got together on the west coast of America, of North America, and were looking for the name of a band. And they came across this story, and they chose that moniker, the Grateful Dead. And today's talk is not about the band. It's not about what happened around the band. It's not about those of us that in some ways or another contributed to the environment that the band created. What the Grateful Dead do, I believe, and we could call these our angels, we could call these our guides or spirit guides. I like the term angels. What our angels do is they nudge us and they provide us reminders and opportunities to say yes to something. And if we don't, that's okay. They'll hang out and keep doing it. Keep offering, keep making the offer, keep making the offer. Right? For me, what it's about, and then that is part of how I found myself following the music of the Grateful Dead and subsequently many other bands. And my life was changed by the good old Grateful Dead. I was, my musical choices were, let's say, a little heavier, a little harsher, and a lot more aggressive, a lot more violent coming out of high school. And what I believe is an angel turned me on to a different perspective, a different opportunity, a different option. Excuse me. Suddenly, I'm surrounded by a musical vibration of peace and love and positivity. And yeah, there's some of that sex and drugs and rock and roll stuff in there too. But if you've learned anything in this year of being with us on Saturday mornings, I trust you have believed that we take what works for us and leave the rest behind. And so at some point I made a decision. I really like this feeling. I like this environment. I like the energy when I go to see these concerts. And there's other bands that do that, and there's other bands that definitely don't do that. New Thought Media Network, well, the whole intention has always been to create a vibration, an environment that is filled with peace and positivity and love and abundance and prosperity and all the reminders and all the things that allow us to see the angels in our lives, to witness the angels in our lives, to recognize the angels in your life. And so today, part of what I'm asking of you, and I love that these talks happen on Saturday because you have the whole weekend to play with this stuff if you choose. Today, what I'm asking you to do is to contemplate, where are the angels in your life showing up? Not real people, maybe real people, but for the most part, where are those intuitive nudges, those little hits, the this, the that? Where are those spots where the ancestors are calling you, are supporting you, are helping you, are providing new opportunities, new insights, new ways to look at, oh, here it is, there it is. What angels are guiding you this day? Here at the New Thought Media Network, our whole intention is to create this environment, to create this vibration, to give anyone that might need some inspiration, some uplift, some sharing, some community, some connection, an opportunity to sink into this powerful, powerful philosophy of New Thought, of the science of mind. And those that have been with us all year long, you know that in the first half of the year, we went through the Science of Mind textbook chapter by chapter by chapter by chapter, and it was so much fun. So many of you were with us and followed along that journey. And in the second half of the year, we've been exploring various applications and ideas and different subjects and topics around and allowing that early half of the year to influence, to inform, to inspire us in the second half of the year. Now, next year, we're going to do it again. In case anybody is interested or wondering, we're going to have a whole new team of people. Some of the people you've been watching this year will be with us, and some new people coming on the team. So we'll have some new speakers with us on Saturday mornings. And starting, we're not going to go the 1st of January, because the 1st of January is New Year's Day morning. We're going to wait for a week. And on the 8th of January, we're going to start with the very first chapter of the Science of Mind textbook again. And our speakers, and we'll do the same thing next year. We'll work our way through the textbook. I trust there will be new revelations, new insights, new ways to engage with this philosophy. And in the second half of next year, we'll do what we're doing the second half of this year and expand and explore, and we'll have different titles and different topics. And it's still all about creating an environment. It's still all about creating an energetic vibration of love and light and beauty and peace and health and wealth and well-being and prosperity and all of that, so that we may be grateful, not just for, and this is that grateful in advance piece. Those that know me know for many years I've been talking, and I didn't get this from myself. I get this, this came from Neil Donald Walsh, actually, originally is where I first heard it, and I've adopted it ever since. During this time, during this period of the year, whether you did it Thursday at dinner or whether you're not in, and you're in another country watching and you're just like, yeah, we don't do Thanksgiving. This is still the time of the season, the time of the year where I believe we are being called to come into a greater sense of gratitude. Yes, for what we have in our lives. Gratitude for all the wonderful things, the technology that makes this connection happen, the technology that allows me to sit here hundreds of miles from my main computer and still be with you, the technology that allows us to connect from across the planet. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the family and the friends and all the people. We can be grateful for the infrastructure that allows us to travel and fly on these holidays and see our friends and our family. We can be grateful for so much of it. And every part of it comes back to a human set of hands. It comes back to someone who's being guided by an angel to maybe do something a little more differently, maybe, or bring forward a new idea, or just do a traditional business from a new perspective. I believe we are being influenced by our ancestors at every moment. And we're being influenced by ancestors that are not lineage, not necessarily my grandfather or my great-grandfather, but a vast network of consciousness that is here to support my mission on the planet. And if that's happening for me, then that's happening for you as well. A great collective consciousness, a vibration, an environment that is here to support you in creating the life you truly desire. That is actually demanding that you live a great life, that you step into a life of serving and being served, giving and receiving, loving and being loved. Somewhere along the line, for many of us, life became about transactions. It's really, I'll give you this many hours for that many dollars. I'll give you this many shekels for that many pecans. I'll give you this much. I'll give you a cow for 12 chicken, whatever it might have been. However we were brought into this, we've been brought into that sense of trade. What if there's nothing to trade? What if it is a both and? What if you can have everything you want, desire, need, and so can your brother and your sister and your neighbor and the guy living on the street and the beggar that a town fights over to pay their funeral expenses? See, we are all that, each. And I bet, and I would venture, that we have all played all of those roles. The brother, the mother, the lover, the beggar, the businessman, those that do see the collective path, and those that are still trapped in the negative appearance of separation and division. I don't believe life has ever really been about you get yours and I'll get mine. That's the trap. That's the trap for each one of us. To be in that place where we think there is a competition happening at any level. Competition for food, competition for attention, competition for resources, competition for love. Now, I get that we like our competition in sports, in many, many games, and I believe there is a healthy form of competition. I keep track of my disc golf score because I like to know if I did better today than I did last time, or which holes I'm doing best on and which holes I need to work on, and what shots I can improve to have more fun with the game. And so there is that healthy level of competition. But I really believe that part of what we're being called to now more than ever is to let go of that. To let go of that in our interpersonal relationships. To let go of that sense of competition with the guy driving next to you. Let go of the sense of competition of who gets the best parking spot, or who is going to get in and out of a store a few minutes earlier, or we have before us everything we need to transfer and to transform into a new way of being, a new experience of life, where we all recognize there's more than enough resources, there's more than enough opportunities, more than enough of everything necessary for us to fulfill this anything we desire. And perhaps it's an angel or the good old Grateful Dead that remind us, that push us along the way. Now, I want to be honest, as I've shared with you a few times now, yes, I spent many a night dancing away with friends and family and new friends and people I didn't know to a band that did it differently every day. And I believe that is part of the key to, one, their longevity and allure. They did it different every time. Every time you went, you had no idea what was going to go, what was going to happen, where the music would take us, what the vibration would be, what the energy would be like, what environment we would create. But it came from a baseline of love and peace and positivity. And now, for me, many years later, that music's not part of my everyday listening anymore. I don't travel to see the Dead and Company. That's shifted for me. But it only changed because of the angels. It changed because life must evolve. It changed because we are each being called to be something more. Now, I want to do a little sideline with you. Remember, when I use the word more, it's not about quantity. It's about the movement of reality evolving. The movement, the motion of reality evolving. That is what the more is. So we're each being called to be more in our lives, in our world, more, to provide a little more service, to provide a little more love, to provide a little more welcome, to be a bit more grateful for what we have and for what's coming. As I said, I was first introduced to this by Neil Donald Walsh, and in a talk he did in Salt Lake City. And it was very shortly after I moved away from Salt Lake City, and I was living in Denver, starting to attend ministerial school, and had been very involved in the community in Salt Lake City, and traveled back to be a part of this event, to see Neil speak. And I'd helped to organize it and been working on it for over a year. And so it was natural to go back. And that was the day I first heard, what if I spend time being grateful for what I don't have yet, for what's coming, for a future vision that we see? And around our dinner table, we've been incorporating that concept in different ways for about a decade now. How do we experience gratitude for the promise, for the opportunity that stands before us? Maybe we don't even see it. Maybe you do. And I believe you most likely do. New Thought Media Network, we're expanding the crew in 22. Like what I did on that one? We're expanding our crew in 2022. And if you'd like to be a part of that, reach out to us. If you'd like to just keep watching, just keep watching. If you'd like to tell your friends, tell your friends. But most importantly, what I'm inviting you to is really consider when you sit down this time next year, what great things are going to happen between now and then? What great things would you like to experience in your life right now, between now and next Thanksgiving, between now and next November? Let's start imagining those. Let's start envisioning those. Let's start praying that is our truth. Let's start doing the spiritual work that we know works to bring us into that place where next year we're going to sit down and say, I am so very grateful and thankful for that trip, for that class, for this learning, for this opportunity, for the expansion of our business, for a new lover, a new child, a new marriage, a new divorce, a new whatever. Because what I know is we're each here to do something. And I believe we're each here to do something pretty darn big. It might not, and that's got to be collectively. We're each going to do something big, but it'll never be as big as what we do when we work together and work in the collective. There's some old sayings around this movement. And one of them is that the universe is conspiring on my behalf. The universe is conspiring on your behalf. And whether you know it or not, all your good is coming to you, and you just have to be open to it. I'm not big on that word conspire anymore, for maybe some obvious reasons. And it caused me to really dig in a while back and think, what is it? It's not a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy. The universe is not trying to do one thing and pretend and make us think it's another thing for our better good or to progress its own agenda. It's not a conspiracy. It's a collaboration. The entire universe is collaborating to bring forth all the resources, all the people, all the connections, everything necessary for you to accomplish your soul's purpose, your soul's mission on the planet. That's what's going on. Now, I'm grateful for that. Yes. I can be super grateful in advance. I can be in that energetic, this is yeehaw, this is in the coming year. Do this with me. Just spend 1 year. Spend 1 year with the belief that everything necessary for the complete and total fulfillment of your mission on the planet comes into your life exactly as necessary. Doesn't matter whether we're talking about money. Doesn't that matter whether we're talking about relationships, resources, opportunities. Everything necessary for the complete and total fulfillment of your mission on this planet comes into your life exactly as necessary. Let's do that for a year. And consider where we will be and what amazing things we shall accomplish together. Because if you're not into expanding your crew in 2022, we do have the opportunity to make everything new in 2022. And that is the journey I am inviting you upon. To make everything new. To look at every opportunity with new eyes. To not be in a sense of competition if you have the resources to do good. To provide the funeral and the burial to the beggar who we know will bless our lives, even though we never know how. The man in our story didn't make a wager. He didn't say, hey, if I pay this debt, I'll get something good from it. I'll be paid back. I'll be blessed. He didn't, it wasn't a transaction. The businessman paid for what was right because he could, because he had resources. In the Science of Mind philosophy, we talk about a lot about the open sharing of resources, of living from a perspective where there is always enough, where there is no lack or limitation, where we always have more than enough of everything. I'm grateful that every day I step into a more expanded practice of knowing that truth, of being in that. Folks, remember, if you'd like to ask any questions, you have any comments, drop them in the box. Dear Fiona from Geneva is with us this morning. Good to see you. Wayne is with us here. It looks like Diego's with us here, and a few more have been dropping in and dropping out. And that's the nature of the internet. That's fine. You can come back and watch this again anytime you like, with anybody you like, and you can hit the share and let them watch it at another time. So as we wrap up this idea of the Grateful Dead here today, good old Grateful Dead, what I have found is that in moments of question and moments of wonder and moments of outright despair, sometimes when I least expect it, one of those old songs from the old days will pop in and show up on a playlist or on a YouTube video. Or some artist will do a cover of a Grateful Dead song, an old song I used to listen to. And the message, the meaning in the music, the message in the lyrics is always still there. And what I love is the lyrics may never change, but my interpretation of them does. The lyrics never change, but my interpretation and my experience of those lyrics has evolved and grown, and they mean so much more now than they did back in the dance and party days. I found the same thing with this philosophy of New Thought and Science of Mind, the writings of Ernest Holmes, that as I continue to study, the words remain the same. The words, the phrases, the punctuation, nothing changes. It all remains the same. But it is my interpretation, my perspective, and then my demonstration of what is in those words that evolves, that changes. And in that, I know it's happening for me. I know it's happening everywhere. I know it's happening for others. I know there are other, this could not be an isolated incident, for God does not isolate itself in one person. The only isolation in the world is if we do that to ourselves. So it's not about the isolation. It's about the acceptance, the openness, the connection, being grateful, even when we die. Being grateful that even after this body is gone, our spirit, our inspiration, our essence, our soul will continue to serve those around us and to serve those that have served us. And I have no more. I love you. I'm so very grateful you're in our lives, my life of my family, life of this ministry. So very grateful that you're a part of this New Thought Media Network and what it's becoming. Because I'm grateful we're getting to expand our crew in 2022. I'm grateful for you, for everything new. I'm Reverend Robert Brzezinski. This is the New Thought Media Network. Saturday morning Science Mind lecture series. I forgot to take a look at who's going to be with us next week. Sorry. We might be able to figure that out real quick. And what I really want you to know is you are a blessing. And I am so grateful to be with you here as we wrap up 2021 and prepare for 2022. So here it is. Next week, we'll be back with Dr. Tracy Brown, Being Peace. The week after that, Reverend Victoria with Sharing Peace. Rev Z, Oh Holy Days and Nights on the 18th. December 25th, Christmas morning. I'm going to be here. Let's do it all again. And then on December 31st, or is that how I forget how, I might have those dates wrong, but the last Saturday I'll be here, and the first Saturday of next year, we're going to do kind of like a group thing, I think. And we're going to try to get as many of our speakers from this year together, and we're all going to share some snippets and some highlights and some of the really fun stuff that happened this year. So I'm going to thank you again for being with us today, folks. I'm not seeing any questions or any inquiries in the chat box. If you do, we still have a little bit of time we could use. If you have any specific questions or things you'd like to clarify about today's talk, but I do trust this has provided some experience and some perspective on how you can live a grateful life and how we can use this powerful process of gratitude in so many different ways. All right. I'm not seeing anything in the chat box, so I'm going to get out of here. Wish you a great, great rest of your weekend and invite you to come back and join us again next Saturday, 9 a.m. Mountain Time, here on the New Thought Media Network. Until then, peace and blessings. Bye.